We're on Emperor Naruhito and the Imperial House of Japan. We're joined by Yoshikazu Kato, live from Hong Kong. He's an adjunct associate professor for Asia Global Institute at the University of Hong Kong. Thanks very much for joining us today. I certainly appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
I want to pick up on some of the bullet points we just went through. Can you contrast and compare on how Japan's new emperor and his wife will look compared to former Emperor Akihito?
I think, first of all, our new emperor and empress were educated in the United States and United Kingdom, so they can play more role on diplomacy. For example, at this time there are meetings with the Trumps. They communicated with an interpreter. So this kind of things has never happened over the history. So I think as a Japanese citizen, I think this is a very good time and place to focus on how our new emperor and empress could play a relatively new role on diplomacy and Japan's foreign relations.
It's going to be important as well because Naruhito also wants to apparently be known as an environmentalist. Now that Akihito has abdicated, the era of achieving peace ends with him and the era of beautiful harmony begins. What do you make of all this?
I think now Japan is, implementing more responsibility in international communities. Of course, our emperor, imperial palace office has not have this political authority. So this is more like symbolic. So they can't play any political roles. But in terms of international image and responsibility, maybe international community can focus more on Japan's peace. They are more peaceful and relatively comprehensive roles in international community to tackle any global issues like climate change or nuclear proliferation or something like that. So this is a very good time to absorb international focus toward Japan. What can Japan do in the next stage?
And Yoshikazu, I think you're exactly right when you talk about just the figurehead as opposed to prime minister. But clearly, people in Japan do take a lot of their reactions from the emperor as well. So what do you think that Asian neighbors are going to be looking for? There seems to be some things that China, South Korea, and others would like to see extended from the previous monarch.
Of course, Japan is something different because we are symbolic emperor system, and this is very much related with what Japan did during the wartime and the U.S. occupation and peaceful constitution. And of course, maybe some Asian countries has been cautious on what Japan is going to do. But very obviously Japan has consistently doing this peaceful country. And of course, Japan-U.S. relation is most important for Japan's diplomacy. But in terms of our relation with China, South Korea, and Southeast Asia, I think the basic image of Japan as a nation state are very clear. We are complementing peaceful policies to establish good relations with neighbors. So I think, of course, this is a monarchy system, but this is more like symbolic. And now at this moment, we can, providing very peaceful and, we say, Reiwa, the new era, a beautiful harmony. These impressions to neighbors, this is a good thing for, creating a good relationship between Japan and international relations.
And I don't know if you had a chance to hear or see the lead-up story to this interview, but with all the pageantry as the emperor welcomed the United States president, in any way, do you think this is going to be seen as the importance of growing unity between Japan and the United States, especially in light of all the trade friction the U.S. has with China right now?
Yeah, of course, the President Trump is the first leader to meet the new emperor and empress, and this is one thing. But at this moment, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and Donald Trump, they are focusing on the very substantial issue like trade and North Korean issue and Iran. So it's a good time to make sure we are sharing the same view and common interest on these very important issues. Of course, in terms of tariffs, we have huge differences. So President Trump said some agreement could be coming up on August, something like that. So it takes time. There are still some differences between our interests, but in terms of North Korea or Iran, Shinzo Abe and Donald Trump, they make sure we are facing new problems. So we need to tackle with certain coordination. So this is a good thing to make sure. And of course, there are personal relationships. between Trump and Shinzo Abe. They played golf together again. So this is a process of creating personal relationship and friendship, and this is very relevant for maintaining and strengthening the Japan-U.S. alliance.
Indeed. Yoshikazu Kato, thank you very much for joining us from Japan, offering some insight into the new emperor and empress. We appreciate it. Thank you.